Welcome back to Fair Game. I'm here with Steelers wideout Ryan Switzer. No relation to Barry Switzer, by the way, right?
No, we like to think so, but no.
There were a lot of distractions last season. I mean, the offseason was crazy, but just at the end of last season too. How much do you think those distractions played into maybe the Steelers not doing as well as they could have or not making the playoffs?
Right, so I wasn't there. The only Steelers that I know was this year, and we didn't make the playoffs. So I think they hadn't missed the playoffs in 5 or 6 previous years.
Yeah.
So I don't know those teams. I just know from the outside looking in how strong of like a history Pittsburgh's had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I grew up watching them. Obviously, I've seen the championships they've won. I don't think Coach T's had a losing season since he's been in Pittsburgh, right? So like, I don't know those yet, but I do know that when I walked into the locker room, you just got kind of this vibe, like, you know, there's a Pittsburgh way, like it's just different.
Ben Roethlisberger's leadership has been questioned quite a bit. Antonio has kind of made allusions to that as well. How would you describe him as a leader?
I saw something, I think James Harrison had come out, and he made a really good point. It's one that I had been thinking about when he said, like, everyone, your relationship with everyone is different, right, in all aspects of life. And my relationship with Ben is different than what AB's would have been or anybody else. I just know from my perspective, I came in, I got traded 7 days before the start of the season. And I told you earlier how nervous I was to meet him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, this dude, he's not going to care about me. Like, I'm a 24-year-old kid. Like, he's, you know, in his 15th season. He's got 2 Super Bowls. Like, 7 days isn't enough for him to get to know me and want to use me. So I'll just be a returner this year. But, I mean, that's not the approach that he took at all.
No.
And I noticed, like, my personality, I noticed little things. And it was the little things that Ben did that made me comfortable and made me kind of be myself again, right? Like, my wife got into a mini car accident. I've told this before, during the season, and I missed a Friday. One of the first people to reach out to me was a number I didn't have. It was Ben.
Really?
I got a text from Ben saying, hey, man, it's Ben R. How's your wife doing? And I was like, damn, this dude didn't have, like, he went out his way to get my number.
Yeah.
Or before games, he would come up, like, we were playing Jacksonville, and they had beat Pittsburgh twice last year. He came up to me before the game and was like, hey, man, we didn't have you last year. Like, let's go get him. And I was like, you would talk about ready to play. Like, so for me, it's been great. I've really enjoyed playing with him. I hope that I get to finish my career with him. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's been awesome.
Well, so like that picture of his relationship with his receivers is very different from the one that you might think based on what has happened between him and Antonio. Did you see them have any tension towards the end?
So I don't know if it was as much tension as just like, you know, it was just there wasn't any like backlash. All I saw him was before games, getting ready, and then you see him go out there and AB's got 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Like, and the type of plays that they were scoring on were like plays that, like, you don't score on unless you and your quarterback are like in sync.
Yeah.
You know, like scramble plays or the long TD AB had against Jacksonville. He had a slant and like
So where
he
does
didn't
that
run
come
the slant and he ran it deep and Ben was like, oh, there's AB. I don't know. I mean, I think it was the 9 or 10 years, however long they spent together previously. You know, that they continue to develop that connection, and you know, for whatever reason, the relationship or whatnot fizzled out, and which happens in life, and you know, now they're going their separate ways.